Good evening. We'll call this regular meeting of the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education to order Thursday, August 2nd, 2018. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Taylor, call the roll, please.
Ms. Reister.
Present.
Mr. McCourt.
Here.
Mr. Browning.
Here.
Mrs. Malad.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda with an addendum to the consent agenda, item 8, which should be part of the handouts back there.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. McCourt.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Browning.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries. Superintendents Report. Welcome, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Thank you. First up tonight on the Superintendent's Report is our 2017-2018 District Report Card. And here to go over our results is the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Sue Brackenhoff.
Good evening. We are not going to talk about the entire district report card tonight because that could take us quite a while. We're going to wait until some areas are finalized, but we've got some areas that we want to celebrate. And let me get my clicker here. Tonight's topic is growth, the areas that we've grown in. The 2017-18 district report card, as in every previous year, will look a little different this year. We will continue to have the measures of achievement, gap closing, progress, graduation rate, K-3 literacy, and prepared for success. But we'll be adding a few different measures. We have a total of 25 indicators that are in our achievement area. And this year, they will be adding the chronic absenteeism indicator and the gifted indicator under there. Under the subject area indicators, this year we have the addition of end-of-course retake improvement, as well as for us, Math 2, which we used for some of our students. So this year, our success is, out of the 25 grade level subject indicators, we met 3 of the 25. Now, met is defined by the state as having 80% or more in those areas. So that doesn't, if we just look at it in that way, it doesn't look like very much to celebrate. But the previous year, we only met 2 of the 23 indicators. This year, the 3 that we did meet, the state standard, was end-of-course retake improvement, which again was new this year. The state standard was 25%, and we had 36% of our students improve. So these were our high school students who retook one of the end-of-course exams, and we saw improvement in those areas. Our American government and our U.S. history continue to be our stellar courses with a state standard of 80%. And this year we had 87.8% proficient in government and 82% proficient in history. So as I said, that's the state standard in there. 3 of 25 at first doesn't look like we've had a lot of improvement. But what we're going to talk about tonight is the improvement on those indicators. And of the 21 subject level indicators, we had improvement in 18 of those 21. So we're here to look at that growth. These are our reading indicators, and reading is given at each level. It's called ELA, English Language Arts. We started in 3rd grade all the way through high school. And our grade level indicators, each of those grade levels, except for our 3rd grade, you can see an increase. So the 17-18 is in red on the right. And In fourth grade, we moved from 59.5 to 65.8. In fifth grade, from 68.8 to 70.7. And I won't read each of these, but as you can see, except for third grade, we had growth in each of those areas in reading. In math, again, 17-18 is on the right. And we did not see growth in third grade, and we'll talk about that a little in a few minutes, but we saw growth in each of the grades except for third and eighth grade. And you will note that Algebra 1 has a pretty significant change from last year. And one of the things the high school instituted this year was they have an Algebra 1 class that is all in 1 year, and then they have Algebra 1 that is carried over 2 years. So the students who completed Algebra 1 in the 1-year track took that end of course exam, and the other students will take that next year. So that'll be where we take a look at how that decision is playing out as far as test scores go. And then Math 2, this was given to a lot of our special education students. It was the first time we have given the Math 2, the alignment seemed to match more clearly what they were working on. In the area of science, you can see again in red, science test is given at 5th, 8th, and then we have biology in high school. A huge growth in biology and pretty significant growth in 8th grade science as well. Then social studies, we no longer give the 4th and 6th grade social studies tests, so the state discontinued that. So as you see, we don't have anything to compare, but if we look at government and history, at the high school level, both of those areas, we did see some growth in that. Our performance index, which is calculated by the different performance levels on each of the tests for all of the tests that are given and the students that take those. And last year we had 67.2, and this year our performance index is 68.7. So we saw a growth in our performance index as well. Now this you probably can't read, and I apologize for not being able to make this a little bit bigger. I spent the morning homesick today, so I had to put this together fairly quickly. But what we've done is each of the building administrators, after we took a look at this release data, I asked them, let's think about some of the things that we've done to improve what is going on in the classrooms. And we know that these test results are the results of what our teachers are doing in the classroom. So some of the ways that we've supported this is our teachers upgrade gradebook weekly. We've increased technology in the classroom so that all of our classrooms have interactive whiteboards, and we have a 2-to-1 ratio for our Chromebooks. We have early release on Friday where teachers are focusing on our teacher-based teams, and at those meetings they are looking at student data to better inform classroom instruction. Our district leadership team is active, and they examine the building data and also set goals for our best practices. So all our BLT and our TBTs, they work on our improvement plan for the district, and so that academic plan helps guide us in some of the decisions we make. We have regular curriculum meetings at the building levels where teachers are working on curriculum maps or pacing guides, and those have been in place, and we continue to review those every year. Our data coach provides assistance to our staff with data analysis at each of our buildings. We've also tried to bring focus on the performance level indicators that the state has published, which really describes what performance at each of the levels, like what basic performance looks like, what proficient performance looks like. Let's see. That is a repeat. We use Mastery Manager, which is a software tool that to create some common assessments, and we can parallel those to the state test questions. We have students use online practice tests. Last year was the first year we did online testing, and so another year under their belt with online testing has produced some positive results, but during the year, we've had students actually take some of the practice tests using that online assessment tools. And then again, we are developing those common assessments across the district, student learning objectives, which teachers use as part of their evaluation, help identify through pre and post testing how students are doing on different subject matter. Testing blueprints are being used, so we examine how the state is designing the test and where the emphasis is, and the teachers, this is discussed with teachers. Meetings in every building to discuss test preparation. Our principals do an excellent job in making sure that teachers have the tools and the understanding of the changes in the test. We continue to add new textbooks through our adoption process, and these textbooks have lots of online resources, so the more our students have opportunity to utilize online resources, the better they are in being able to use online testing formats too. At the primary level, we added a phonemic awareness program last year in all of the K-3 classrooms and provided training for that. And then at 3rd through 5th grade, the resources have been offered. These are usually tools that are for the most struggling readers. So the teachers that are working with those students have also received some training. At the high school, some of the things that they noted that, again, they changed the Algebra 1 class so that students could take that over a 2-year period. In biology, they're using resources that imitate the online simulations, and as you recall, we had a great increase in biology. All of the content areas have worked diligently to align their curriculum maps to their standards and their common assessments. The teachers are utilizing those online resources, and you'll see some of these things are repeats. And then again, our data meetings with Melissa Williams, our data coach, is really helpful. Melissa is able to take all of that data, pull it down to a teacher-level report, and then we sit with teachers and actually have the teachers examine that information and reflect how does this impact, this information impact your instruction? What things can you do to improve it? And then have teachers who are very successful in areas share the areas that they have implemented in their classroom that they feel has made an improvement in student achievement. At Baker Middle School, one of the things they did, there's so many ways that we impact student growth, but one of the things during testing that they implemented this year is that each of the students tested with their subject level teacher. So in the past, there was a testing schedule, and if, you might test with a teacher that is not your math teacher or a teacher that is not your English teacher. And this year, they rearranged the schedule so that kids were testing with the teacher they are most familiar with rather than a random teacher. And I think that made a difference for lots of our kids. They also introduce professional development to the staff, displaying the content standards, working on the different levels of proficiency, and again, that's where those performance level indicators. They have been using a program called Edulastic, which mirrors the AIR assessment, so we're finding lots of tools out there that have some free components of it that we can utilize. It gives feedback to kids and to teachers in real time. They have been instituting reading and writing across the curriculum in every classroom. This was one of Mr. Holt's focus areas as he entered the building this past year as a new administrator. They're also implementing Mike Schmoker's 4 components of an effective lesson and trying to get consistency in instructional delivery across the classrooms. Data meetings show up on every one of them, and again, we are so grateful to have a data coach to help us with this. At Baker, they have also, in conversations with the teachers as well as with the students, tried to raise the level of expectation. And then K through 8, we use Renaissance STAR assessments. It's a data program that gives us information on student growth in both reading and math. And so they are using that data. It will actually, students take an assessment, and it will give teachers information on how they do on standards, as well as be able to drill down to here are some things that you can work on with those particular students. At the intermediate school, their focus has been on guided reading groups, making sure that that is a part of our literacy work. And teachers have been working on flexible math groups, working towards guided math as a practice. So flexible grouping in both reading and math to help students meet their standards. Again, our Renaissance STAR testing and using that results to impact our classroom instruction. The data meetings with the teachers, and Melissa happens to be in that building, but this is an additional level of data meetings that Mrs. Wyatt and Mrs. Gendrew do with small groups of teachers. They are very focused and very specific on students and trying to drill down to the individual level. What are we doing for these particular students? And those have been very successful. Across the building, they have been working with PBIS to help with classroom management. And they've instituted a program called Pineapple PD, pineapple being the sign for welcome. And so teachers that have specific expertise or areas that they would like to share with other teachers, they encourage teachers to go and observe in other classrooms across the building. And then the intermediate building also used the phonemic awareness tools, and then the gifted professional development that took place over the course of last year and this summer, I think has impacted their class. And then at the primary level, the primary principals had a different challenge than most of the others, because the primary was the one grade level that we didn't show a lot of improvement. They had a new administrative team last year that really focused on climate and culture of their building, but they did a lot of things to also impact academics, and their plans for the future are pretty amazing. As a new team, again, they focused on culture and climate. They were also working with teachers with guided reading and with the phonemic awareness program, and we've had teachers that have begun the process for the reading adoption that we will be doing over the course of this year. They held monthly grade level meetings with all of their staff. They set goals for their grade level meetings and worked with their teacher-based teams to try and create that consistency across the grade level. They are STAR monthly monitoring, so they're using those STAR assessments and looking at the results of that. Their balanced literacy time frame for instruction, they have 150 minutes with focus on that guided reading and smaller groups. So that will continue, I think, to impact what we see as far as results. And remember that the primary building, the only grade level that is reflected in the state assessments is third grade level. So, you know, kindergarten, first, second, and third, second grade are not assessed, but we all contribute to our success. We are trying to increase the number of teachers with the gifted training, with resources that will help them. This past year, they also focused on parent engagement and held many parent meetings with the goal of making sure with our third grade parents they understood the consequences of the third grade reading guarantee, as well as all of the resources that were available during the school year as well as in the summer. They held a kindergarten information night, trying to get information out as early as possible for our incoming kindergartners. And then every year they hold their family literacy night in December, which is a showcase for a lot of great instructional strategies that parents can use with their kids. They implemented trying to reduce some of the fidgetiness, is that a good word, of little kids. They instituted a little extra recess in there to try and provide a balance and a break in the course of the day and see a little more focus from their students. So, you know, sometimes giving a little bit of extra time can pay off in the focus and attention when they're back in. Their staff in the past has seen a pretty big turnover. Last year, they had 86% of their teachers returning, and this year they'll have 97% of their teachers turning. So that in itself will make a difference across grade levels. And then they continue to use the testing data that we discussed with the other buildings. So our celebrations are that in 18 of the 21 grade level, and that says contest, doesn't it? It should say content indicators. We have increased, we've shown some growth, and that's what we want to focus on, growth. We also showed growth in our performance index. So even though we still have a lot of work to do, we are making progress. And again, that begins with our teachers and what they do in the classroom every day and the support that we provide for them. So that's the first peek at our report card. The grade may not be the grade that we want, but we are looking at the progress that we are making and knowing that what the teachers are doing is making a difference with our students. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, I'd like to give you an update on our permanent improvement projects that are going on. As you're aware, some time ago, you approved some permanent improvement projects, especially for the high school and the junior high. The HVAC system, they're getting closer each day. I don't know if you noticed, walking down this hallway, coming down here, I've been here going
I
on
saw the
my
icicles.
7th year. It was definitely a lot cooler than I had ever felt it before in 7 years. So we're making a little progress there. The auditorium lighting, if you get a chance, stop in there. I think they got the stage lighting up today, and they should be wrapping this up, I believe, in the next week to week and a half. We are the shooting date to train everybody with that lighting system is August the 16th, hopefully, so if all goes well. But what a difference the auditorium looks and what a difference that is going to make for our kids in the arts program. So the tech wiring, they're full tilt. Emily is doing a great job on that, and we have got wires going all over, just thousands of wires, and somehow, some way, it seems to all come together. The bleachers in the gym are finished and look fabulous. The tile of the two wings at the junior high, they've made great progress in the last 2 days there. They should hopefully finish that up tomorrow, we hope. So, and the big one is the paving of the transportation parking lot. We were over there today, and wow, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, it looks good, looks
I think
good.
we've all fielded more questions about the buses in the high
Yeah,
school
that's right.
than anything else in the past
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, so there's some other small projects going on, but I have to say kudos to the custodial staff because they have been very flexible through all this. It hasn't been easy, it's been a little trying, but you know, somehow, some way, they're still getting these buildings ready for the start of school on the 20th. So that's my report, an update to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
180 new Chromebooks sitting there.
Right.
back
Yes,
there in the
right.
back.
Next up, our speaker to give us an update from the Greene County Career Center is Mr. Mike Eaker, board member. He is going to talk about the Take Flight project that is at the Career Center.
Thank you, Mr. Lawley. Mr. Wilson, board members, Thank you very much. By the way, in general, a couple things to talk about. The Career Center is about to start the school year this year with the biggest largest number of students in 15 years. 383 juniors and 302 returning seniors. So we're on the move, and everything that we're doing is attracting attention. I think we're doing the right thing. I'm happy to note that one of my favorite programs, which is the power equipment mechanics, which is essentially diesel mechanics, we went from 6 seniors graduating last year. We're now going to have 8 seniors this year, and we got 10 juniors enrolling.
All right.
Now, the reason I mention that is because whether you know it or not, those guys, when they graduate, get a certification as diesel technicians, get hired they'll get job offers from John Deere tractor, and oh, by the way, all the competing trucking companies and anybody else that uses large diesel engines. Those are great jobs, and if you go to work for Caterpillar or John Deere, they'll pay your college tuition. Wish there were some kids here who could hear that.
We have some help here.
As far as our levy and our Take Flight initiative is concerned, I want to remind you our plan is to keep all of our current programming and add programs like engineering technology, cybersecurity, and robotics. The levy itself is about workforce development and keeping jobs in the area. You know, companies are losing business or not bidding business because they have a shortage in areas like engineering, manufacturing, and IT. In fact, also there appears to be a shortage of skilled technicians in many areas, including plumbers, welders, and mechanics. Our goal is to keep jobs local, and to do that, we have to keep talented young adults educated, get them educated, get them certified, and keep them here. I want to remind all of you that our board decisions that got us to this upcoming levy were made due to a job market study that was performed by the Green Tree Group that indicated strong support for expansion in the high-tech construction areas. Now, we've met with private industry. I think I'm repeating a little bit of what Dave Deskins told you the last time we were here. But we've talked with private industry, we've talked with NASA regarding funding, and even tried to change state law as it relates to the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission and their rules on funding new career tech centers. Unfortunately, it got vetoed. Board, we also have been very diligent in watching our spending, and thereby we have reduced the amount of money that we're going to be asking our voters to provide us. One thing I can tell you, even though industry was not able to fund our capital expenditures, they have promised and committed to providing their equipment so that when we build the new classrooms, the new lab centers, they will be able to stock those with their equipment so that we'll be teaching kids on current equipment so that we can certify, intern, and then provide them with jobs upon graduation. As far as the status of what we're up to, we have made a contingency offer on a 37.4 acre piece of ground at the southwest corner of 68 and 35 bypass, subject to several evaluations and studies, and not to mention the levee passage. We're working with our architect, Freitag and Associates, and our design build team of Shook Touchstone to develop the designs that we hope to break ground on next spring. Now, the proposed location, if you think about it, is on the south side of Xenia. It's bounded by 35 bypass, 68, and Union Road. So, and if you know where Innovation Way is, it's right across the street from that. It's basically farm country. It's in corn, I think, right now. But we're going to probably let them harvest that because we're not going to break ground till the spring.
And it's high ground.
But anyway, it's going to be more accessible to almost everybody in the county. In fact, of the 7 school districts, 5 of them will actually have either equidistant or shorter distance to go than the current location on West Enon. Unfortunately, we are one of those that's going to have a slightly longer, but it's right off the highway. Basically, you're going to come off 35, head south about 200 or 300 feet, turn right into the parking lot. So, and we're working with the city of Xenia for all of the infrastructure and the roads and and access to 68. So that's going to be really, really easy and a lot more effective, I think, in getting the students there. And obviously, less time spent on buses means more time spent learning. Now, talk to you a little bit about that. One last thing, I know that we're here tonight to talk a little bit about the levy. The levy itself is a 1.03 mil levy. That means $36 a year for 20 years on a $100,000 appraisal house. That's about $3 a month. I know in your agenda tonight that you have a resolution, and I'm here to ask for your support for the resolution for our levy and subsequent erection of a new facility that will offer a new environment for all of our current programs, along with specific new programs targeted at preparing our population for careers in aerospace, automotive, and medical manufacturing, all of whom are needed to ensure the continued economic growth of Greene County and Southwest Ohio. And with that, do you have any questions?
I'm good.
No? Thank you for the
Thank
update.
you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
update.
By the way,
Thank
you should be getting our newsletter. I'll be email. I got that this afternoon. I'll email that to the board.
Okay.
And it talks a little bit about that. One thing I didn't tell you, and I should have, somewhere online, nobody told you, or maybe not, maybe they did. We issue laptops to every student going to school there when they get there, which will start on the 9th of August. We'll have the incoming juniors come in, and we're going to issue them their laptops, show them around the place, and get them started. We also, by the way, have uniforms for all of the students, figuring out that because most places you work nowadays, and I'll tell you what, whether I was in the Air Force or not, I wore a uniform. Just that if you're wearing a three-piece suit, it's more expensive. But we have changed our uniform or clothing standards for this year, and you'll find that kind of interesting too. So anyway, with that, thank you very much.
Thanks for the update.
Okay, we'll move on to item 6, recognition of visitors. If there's anyone that wishes to address the board, please step to the microphone and limit your comments to 5 minutes, and we'll allow 30 minutes total for that.
Do I have to give my name and address?
Yeah.
Donna Wilson, 442 Zimmer Drive. Tonight, I am pleased to present to you 2 young ladies who are here to be our next AmeriCorps service members at the high school and at the Career Center, Mr. Eaker. This is Margaret Bennett, and she graduated from Miami University with a BA in psychology, and Wright State with a master's degree in educational counseling, just counseling. She did an internship at a middle school doing counseling. Danielle has a degree in mass communication from Wright State University, and she has all kinds of skills that are going to be able to highlight some of the things that are going on here at school. And I'll let them each tell a little bit about something they'd like to say about today.
I don't have anything formal prepared, so this will be brief, but I just want to express how excited I am to be joining the Fairborn community and to be working with all of your amazing students this year. I know the difference that one person can make in expanding access to higher education for students, and I am hopeful that I can kind of be that person for some of your students this year. So thank you for having me.
Welcome. She pretty much said it the best, but so I don't have like the formal training that she does in the school, but I have been in the school system for a very long time. My dad has been a member of the school board since I was a freshman. My aunt works at the school. I sub at the school sometimes, so I don't have the formal school training, but I definitely know how the school works, and I'm excited to come in and offer my expertise in other areas.
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, welcome.
These two AmeriCorps service members were sponsored by Michael Saylor, who is a Fairborn graduate, and he was co-founder of MicroStrategy, which is a business intelligence, mobile software, and cloud-based services company. And the other sponsor is Travis Greenwood, who is from the Green Tree Group, and he is president of the Wright State University Foundation. So we're very happy to have these two young ladies. Here are specific duties that they will be performing. Assist students in making a post-secondary education plan, provide college and career information to students and families, help to facilitate information sessions and programs for students and parents, present classroom workshops to students, assist students with their college applications, plan and chaperone college visits, assist students and families with the financial aid process, and identify students who may be eligible for scholarships. And Margaret will be working at the Career Center basically. She'll also be working with 9th and 10th graders at the high school to inform them more about the programs that they do have at the Career Center. And you may be a person that we'll be calling on to come and tell about some of those programs. And Danielle will be working at the high school, and she will be doing most of the work with the students who show promise. Our focus is first-generation college students. And a couple of years ago, we had two people who were AmeriCorps service members, and college enrollment went up 8%. So we're hoping that we can not only get the college enrollment up, but we can also get more people into these great programs that we have at the Career Center. So thank you very much for being here. One other thing that I have, the city, if you've gone by the site for the new primary school, the water tower has been painted with the Skyhawk logo. And if you haven't seen it, it's time you go by and see it, because it looks great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Donna.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, we'll close recognition of visitors and move on to item 7, approval of the minutes of the Monday, July 16th regular meeting, Monday, July 23rd special meeting, Tuesday, July 24th special meeting, and the July 30th special meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Browning.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Any comments, corrections to the minutes? No? Oh,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
motion carries. Item 8, the consent agenda, which runs through page 6, middle of page 6. On page 5, I'll call your attention to item 4. We have Randall Krieger, a bus driver who is retiring with 14 years of service to Fairborn City Schools, of providing the safe transportation of our students to and from school every day. So wish him well in his retirement. So I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Reister.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. Any comments, questions on any of these items?
Welcome, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We have a...
He was in there too.
Is he in
Yeah.
there? I
Is he in
couldn't-
there?
He's buried
Yeah,
in
he
there.
is. He's
Is he in
in
there, or I
the
thought he was
front.
in new business.
This
I-
is number
yeah.
2.
Number 2?
Oh, yep.
Approving his
Okay,
contract.
so yes, we have Mr. Jeffrey Patrick as the Interim Director of Business Affairs for Classified Personnel.
I'd
stepping
like to
in.
welcome you to the district.
Yes,
very
welcome.
much.
Yes.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Mr. Patrick.
Good last name.
Okay. Any other?
Ready?
Ready?
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. Treasurer's Office, approve a transfer of funds between class of 2018 and 2019, and approve disposal of a filing cabinet. We have a
For
motion.
that one to go. So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Malad.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Any comments?
I don't think
Nope.
so.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Class
Yeah.
of 18 is
Yeah.
starting 19 off well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. New business, Board of Education, item 10. Some good things on here. We have the resolution of support for the Career Center. We have also the member services agreement for the AmeriCorps students, and we also have the approval of the employment contract between Fairborn City Schools and Mr. Kevin Philo, who has accepted the position of treasurer. So
Again, welcome to the district.
welcome.
Welcome.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome, Kevin.
We're very excited about.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Reister.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Malad. Any additional comments?
I think we also need to bring attention to
Right.
that resolution that will be removing the school fees.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was
That
on
was
the,
that was on the first
yeah, it was on the
page.
first
Yes.
page. So that had been up through sixth grade last year. And then it's going all the way up through eighth. So that's pretty impressive, or it'll be a
Yeah.
big help to a lot of our families.
Right.
So. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Katie, for that. Any other comments, questions?
No.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, item 11, the board member reports and good of the order. Ms. Reister.
I have nothing this month.
Okay, Mr. McCourt?
Oh, great news on the grade cards. To Dr. Brackenhoff, tremendous job, and I know she, when I told her earlier, tremendous job, right away, she says the thanks goes to the teachers, and we all know that, but we all need a leader, and we most certainly appreciate what you've done. Great job to the teachers, as Dr. Reister, or Dr. Reister, as Dr. Brackenhoff said. You know, this is progress. This is a start. We know we're not going to get to where we want in a matter of a month or two, or maybe even 6, but this is a tremendous start for our kids, for the teachers, and I know as this board member will say, teachers and staff in all the buildings have my support 100%. So great news there. Got a chance today to get to the auditorium, the gymnasium, been to the gymnasium at Baker, and of course, Gene and I had a chance to roll by the transportation office today, and man, things are looking great. They are really, really looking great, and I've mentioned this many times, but it's a tremendous turnaround when you see these buildings when we leave here for the summer break and when we come back, and what a great job all of our custodial staffs do in all of the buildings. I mean, they sure make a silk's purse out of a sow's ear. So congratulations to them. Margaret and Danielle, welcome. We welcome you with open arms, and welcome to Skyhawk Nation. And as well, Jeff Patrick, like to again welcome you, sir. We look forward to working with you, and know that you're going to do a tremendous job in that position. You don't have very big jobs to, or you don't have very big shoes to fill, so you should do well. And also to Kevin, we are very fortunate to get Kevin to come out of Oakwood and join our Skyhawk Nation here in Fairborn. And this gentleman comes with very, very high credentials at Oakwood for 24 years, knows the job forwards and backwards. And to you, Kevin, I know you're going to settle in with your staff at central office and with our district, and know again that this board member supports you 100%. We thank you for coming. And that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Browning.
Okay, I wanted to thank the city for the water tower, first of all. For anybody that hasn't gone by, drive by and look at that, and, I visualize what it's going to look like with that water tower next to a new building in a couple of years, and it's pretty exciting times for the city. Gene and Pat mentioned all the construction. I'm not going to repeat it, but the important thing to me is that is for the kids. And it's so the kids are proud of going to Fairborn schools. And, for a lot of years, we couldn't say that. And it's getting better. We've got more work to do, but more and more of the kids are proud of going to Fairborn and the way the buildings look and the work that's going in. I just want to call attention out back. The marching band is going through band camp this week. They've got a preview that's roughly around 7:30 of their show. I'm going to walk back and watch it once the board meeting's over, but that's exciting. And then also fall sports are in full swing. And I'm kind of looking forward to Friday nights and football and, marching band and those kind of things again, and, miss that. And then just the buzz around the buildings of getting ready. It's not very long before we have kids back in the buildings. We're just a couple weeks away, and so it's pretty neat. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So I'm done.
All right, Mrs. Malad.
Yes, teachers, are you guys ready? Because we're ready to send them back to you. So, welcome to Mr. Philo. We're thrilled to have you. Everybody said pretty much everything
Right.
that there is to say. But, just a couple more weeks before school starts. So I did want to mention Pam's been doing a really wonderful job of keeping families informed of what is, back to school lists, and, we'll have the bus routes out
One view.
soon. And, one view, yes, getting all of that done. I have completed mine, yay. So good job on getting all of that done, because we as mothers and fathers and parents and caregivers are definitely thinking about that stuff now. So, thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. I don't have too much more to add, other than, we've got, later this month, they're back in the classroom and at it. So a lot of preparation work going on out there. Do want to mention a couple of things. We have the Bluegrass and Brew Festival coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Starts at 4.
Downtown Fairborn, 4 to 10 o'clock. We also have the Corn Festival in a couple of weeks, the big event there. So we'll have the information out there for the parents with the bus routes and things if they need help with that, and just general information about the schools there. Everybody's already said pretty much everything else, so welcome to everybody. Welcome to, as we said, to Skyhawk Nation. It's a lot of good progress going on. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So-
moved.
Everybody wants.
Thank you, Ms. Reister, and thank you, Mr. McCourt.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries. We are adjourned.